Welcome back to my channel, guys. Rick Ross, the man who spent the better part of 2 decades telling everybody on planet Earth how rich he was, how many cars he had, how many mansions he owned, how many wings were on his private jet. The man who built an entire rap career, an entire persona on the foundation of being untouchably wealthy. That same man just got caught flying economy class. Oh my God, let that land for a second. Rick Ross, economy class, middle seat energy, tray table down, no cap. The internet absolutely lost its mind when those photos hit. And we're going to get into every single detail of that situation. And his response, which I'm not even lying to you, might be the funniest thing I've heard in years. But that's not even the full story, because on top of getting caught in economy, his concert tickets are not selling. And I do not mean they are selling slowly. I mean, they ran a buy one get one free promotion and people still were not buying. Think about that for a second. They are literally giving tickets away and fans are still saying no thank you. This is where it gets insane, fam, because this is a man who was genuinely worth $100 million at his peak. And somehow, someway, the biggest boss has gone from living at the absolute top of the rap game to catching flights in row 27 and begging fans to come to his shows with discount codes. How does that happen? Where did the money go? And what does it tell us about everything Rick Ross has been selling us for the last 20 years? Y'all are not ready for this breakdown. Let's get into it right now. At his peak, around 2012 to 2016, Rick Ross had accumulated a net worth estimated between $75 million and $100 million. And this wasn't just rap money. This was diversified money coming from multiple directions at the same time. His Maybach Music Group label was a major force in hip-hop, signing artists like Meek Mill, Whale, and Gunplay, generating real revenue and cultural impact. He had serious label deals with Warner Brothers and Def Jam. His albums were selling, streaming income was strong, and his touring demand was high. People actually wanted to see Rick Ross perform live. But it wasn't just music. He had Wingstop franchises, reportedly over 24 locations at one point, and when Wingstop was booming, those franchises were printing money. He also had endorsement deals and partnerships like Belaire Champagne that added more income streams. And then there was the symbol of it all, his massive mansion in Georgia, a 109-room compound with a huge pool, go-kart track, and dozens of acres of land. A property worth around $10 million, bought for about $2 million in 2010, making it one of his smartest investments. So at the peak, the picture looked unstoppable. Label success, business ventures, Wingstop empire, touring income, endorsement money. Rick Ross was genuinely wealthy. The boss persona was at least partially backed by real numbers. So what happened? The story is really about one thing: spending money to make other people feel small. His entire financial philosophy wasn't just building wealth, it was flexing wealth. And there's a massive difference. Building creates systems that generate income. Flexing spends money to impress people who are not paying your bills. Rick Ross chose flexing loudly, repeatedly, and at huge financial cost. Cars, jewelry, mansions, lifestyle, everything was about visibility. Multiple Rolls-Royces, Bentleys, Lamborghinis, custom cars, not for necessity, but for image. Millions spent on jewelry alone, chains, watches, diamond pieces worn constantly and publicly. But the real drain was lifestyle maintenance. A 109-room mansion isn't just an asset. It's expensive to maintain. Staff, utilities, security, upkeep. Then add private jet usage, entourage costs, constant travel, label expenses. The outflows were massive. Even with $100 million at the peak, the lifestyle wasn't built to be sustainable. It was built to be impressive. And that explains everything happening now. Because when your identity is built on being richer than everyone else, and then you get caught sitting in economy like everyone else, the fall isn't just financial. It's symbolic. Then came the economy class moment. Rick Ross, the biggest boss, seen sitting in a regular commercial seat. No private jet, no luxury cabin, just economy. The internet exploded because it directly contradicted the image he has spent decades building. And his explanation: he said he was flying commercial because his private jet was getting Starlink installed. In other words, Wi-Fi upgrade issues forced him onto a regular flight. And that's where the internet really had fun with it, because the explanation didn't match the scale of the situation people were already questioning. At the end of the day, this story isn't just about a flight. It's about image versus reality, and what happens when a persona built on luxury gets tested in real life. You do? You charter another jet. That is what people with actual private jet money do. You pick up the phone, you call a charter company, you pay for a one-way flight on somebody else's aircraft, and you arrive at your destination without ever touching the commercial gate. This is not a complicated process. Charter flights exist specifically for situations like this, and at the financial level Rick Ross has always claimed to operate at, chartering a jet for a single flight is not even a meaningful expense. It is a rounding error. Second, even if for some reason chartering was not an option, which it absolutely is, you go first class. You go business class. You do not end up in economy on a commercial flight unless something is wrong that goes far beyond something like a Starlink installation excuse. And the fans knew it. The reaction to his explanation was almost as loud as the original photos themselves. People were not buying it at all. The comments were merciless. Everybody could see what was happening. Rick Ross got caught in a situation that directly contradicted the image he has spent years building, and instead of addressing it lightly or laughing it off, he reached for the first explanation that came to mind. But the issue is that the explanation was so forcefully delivered, so defensive in tone, that it actually made things worse. What stood out most was the energy behind it. He did not come back with humor. He did not treat it like a joke. He did not own it casually. Instead, he tried to turn the Starlink story into something almost impressive, almost flex-worthy, as if installing internet on a jet somehow reinforced his status. But the harder he pushed that narrative, the less believable it became. Because real billionaire energy does not spend time explaining economy seats. Real wealth does not need justification in that way. Simply moves on. It simply books another flight and continues the day. And that moment became symbolic because it was not just about travel. It connected to a bigger perception shift happening around him. At the same time, conversations around his touring performance started circulating. Reports and discussions suggested that ticket sales were not performing at the level people expected from someone with his legacy. Venues were not filling the way they used to, and demand for live shows appeared to be significantly lower compared to his peak years. In some cases, promotions like buy one get one free ticket deals reportedly appeared, which for an artist built on exclusivity and luxury branding creates a very sharp contrast. When an artist whose entire identity is based on being premium and untouchable starts offering heavy discounts just to fill seats, it changes how people interpret the demand for that artist. Even after promotional pushes, there were claims that tickets still did not move at the level needed. And that is where the conversation expanded beyond just one event or one tour. It started becoming about relevance. Rick Ross is not currently at the center of hip-hop culture the way he once was. The industry has evolved, new artists dominate streaming and youth attention, and audiences who now drive ticket sales are often from a different generation than the one that grew up on his peak era. That natural shift in music culture means legacy alone is not enough to guarantee turnout. At the same time, the issue became more layered because his entire brand was built not just on music, but on a specific image of wealth, dominance, and untouchable success. When that image is challenged by small but visible moments like economy seat photos or discounted ticket campaigns, it creates cognitive dissonance for the audience. People begin to separate the performance of wealth from actual financial reality. And once that separation starts, the illusion becomes harder to maintain. Another layer of the discussion involves how his relationship with fans was built in the first place. It was never deeply emotional or personal in the way some artists cultivate loyalty. Instead, it was largely based on spectacle. Luxury cars, expensive jewelry, big houses, constant displays of success. That kind of audience connection is powerful but also fragile because it depends entirely on consistency of the image. The moment the image weakens, there is no deeper emotional foundation holding it in place. On the business side, attention also turned toward his investments, especially his Wingstop franchise portfolio. At its peak, this was considered one of his smartest financial moves, a real-world business success story that showed diversification beyond music. Franchise ownership, when managed well, can be extremely profitable and stable. But it is not passive income in the way people often assume. It requires oversight, operational attention, and constant management. Over time, reports and discussions suggested that his franchise operations may have faced challenges, whether from management issues, performance differences across locations, or broader economic conditions affecting consumer spending. When a business like that is not actively optimized, it can lose efficiency quickly. And if that income stream slows down while other revenue sources like touring or streaming also decline, the overall financial structure becomes more strained than the public image suggests. That is where the larger narrative begins to form. The cost of maintaining a luxury lifestyle is high. Mansions require upkeep, entourages require funding, travel is expensive, and public image itself often demands continuous spending. If multiple income streams are not growing at the same pace as expenses, the gap becomes visible over time. And when that gap shows up in public-facing moments, it creates speculation about the true state of things. The broader takeaway people started discussing is the difference between real wealth and the performance of wealth. Real wealth does not depend on constant visibility. It does not need to prove itself through repeated displays. It is structural. It works quietly in the background regardless of fame or attention. The performance of wealth, however, requires constant reinforcement. It needs to be seen, documented, and believed by others. It is expensive to maintain because it is built on perception rather than just fundamentals. Peace.